डॉक्टर आर.पी. सिंह जी, सेक्रेटरी जनरल PCI, हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं। यहाँ उपस्थित सभी महानुभाव मेहमानों का हम हृदय से स्वागत करते हैं। क्वालिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री के अंतर्गत एक ऑटोनोमस बॉडी है। हमारी ये यात्रा शुरू हुई थी 1997 में और आज हमारा गर्व का पर्व है, हमारे 25 साल के सेलिब्रेशन का। और ये महज सेलिब्रेशन नहीं बल्कि एक डेडिकेशन है हमारा देश के प्रति, क्वालिटी मूवमेंट के प्रति एसेंस को बरकरार रखना है। सोशल तथा इकोनॉमिक सेक्टर में क्वालिटी के इकोसिस्टम को बनाए रखना है। नेशनल क्वालिटी कैंपेन के जरिए नेशनल एक्रेडिटेशन स्ट्रक्चर को गढ़ना है। और अब मेरा आग्रह है श्री आर.पी. सिंह जो कि सेक्रेटरी जनरल हैं कि कृपया एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी श्री अनिल अग्रवाल का स्वागत करें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अब हमारा अनुरोध है रिस्पेक्टेड श्री आदिल जैनल भाई, चेयरमैन QCI आपसे की कृपया स्वागत संबोधन के लिए पधारें।
Always important to wake everyone up in the morning. Although since you're all fans and friends of QCI, I don't have to wake you up in the morning. You're already zealous enough and excited enough to join us here. So I bid a great welcome to actually people on the stage that I'm going to recognize and welcome are very, very, very strong mentors and friends of QCI. Let me start with Amitabh Kant, who is now G20 Sherpa, and before that was at NITI, and before that was at DPIIT. And I want to tell a little story while I welcome him, which is 8 years ago I was walking on a beach in Portugal, by the way, not even in India, desperately trying to get a hold of me, saying Amitabh Kant's office has called 6 times, please call him back right away. So I said, well, listen, I'm walking on the beach and this is not an appropriate time to talk to Amitabh. So I'll call later in the evening when I get back. So later in the evening, I called Amitabh and Amitabh said, you have to become chairman of QCI. And I said, what is QCI? I don't know what QCI is. And honestly, I didn't know what QCI was. And I said, I'm very busy and I don't have much time. So how much time will it take? And this is why I'm so happy and so delighted that Amitabh is here on the dais with us. I want to, so Amitabh, thank you very much. And that was 8 years ago. And I want to also welcome Anurag Jain, who is the current secretary DPIIT, and he is an extraordinary friend of ours. And he's the kind of friend you want, who not only says you're doing a great job, but he also says, and have you thought about A, B, and C? And they're all really good ideas. So Anurag ji has not only supported QCI tremendously since he's been here, but he has also pushed us to get better and better and better. And I think today, what I'm going to ask each of the people on the dais and each of the panels is please don't spend a lot of time congratulating us, although congratulations to everyone, I'm going to come to that. But please spend a lot of time telling us to really make a difference in India in quality. Okay, that is what the purpose of this get together is, to commit to the future, not just celebration. And then I also want to introduce Anil Agarwal, who is also at DPIIT. And you know, honestly, he spends as much time on QCI, not as much as I do, but actually a lot. He has been a great friend of ours and has driven us. And some of the most exciting things we are doing today have really come about because of Anil. So Anil, I am delighted that you are here. And so it's the people we have on the dais are not here in their, not just as their positions, but really because they have been personally involved and have driven what we're doing. And I've asked all of them to talk about what should we do in the future. So let me start out by saying that, QCI has been very successful over the past 25 years, and over the last 10 years, we've grown 12x. If I invited all the QCI employees when we took over 8 years ago, they would have fitted in one section of this. And today, we can't find an auditorium big enough for all of them to fit. So we're having a separate function for all the QCI folks. But it's not that. It is that what I feel really proud about is that all of you, and I can see many, many people here who have been integral to QCI. Many of the chairmen of our boards are sitting here. Many who have been chairman before, and I won't go through all of them because it'll take a very long time. But chairman of NABH, I can see here, chairman of NABL, the previous chairman of NABH, the previous to previous chairman of NABH are all here. And I think they're all here because they all played an important role in the evolution of QCI. So what is it that we are most proud of before I go to the next? What we are most proud of is that QCI has helped play a role in the development of the nation and in fulfilling the vision that the PM has for the country. It is not just, so we think about quality very, very broadly. When we talked about quality in products and services, Honorable PM said, why don't you improve the quality of life for each of our citizens, right? Why is it just on products and services? We should improve the quality of life. And so this is what we have tried to do. And in many of the most important programs of the government, we've been there to help measure. And everyone knows the first thing you do in quality is measure, right? So we've been involved in measuring number of toilets that have been built, quality of electricity getting to villages, how aspirational districts are improving, how houses are being built under PM Awas Yojana, how gas is being delivered, gas cylinders are being delivered to everyone. So in many of the major programs of the government, and Swachh, of course, which is the most important, we've been involved in Swachh in both urban and rural. So we are very, very proud to have played a real part in the development of the country by ensuring quality and by helping make the scheme successful. So that is, I think, something that we are all very proud of, and that's something that we hope we will continue to do. What we're thinking, I wanted to do one other thing at this point, which is I wanted to remind you all that QCI started 25 years ago. The first chairman was Ratan Tata, and it was his vision, and he laid down the groundwork. Then it was Venu Srinivasan of the TVS group in Chennai. After that, it was Dr. Mashelkar, who headed CSIR labs and others, and is a very, in fact, Dr. Mashelkar put in place many of the structures. Some of the accreditation boards and others came about during Dr. Mashelkar's time. And then after that was Dr. Arun Maira, and just before me was Amitabh Kant was chairman. And I think partly we are successful because we were able to stand, as somebody said, on the shoulders of giants. And it was what they put in place. So I want to take a very special moment to thank all the previous chairmen of QCI and all the previous chairmen of NABH, NABL, NABCB, and all the others. So thank you very much for setting the foundations. And my last thanks I want to give to all QCI employees, to all our partners from all the accreditation agencies, certification agencies, and others who have all really worked to help us get to where we are. As I said, we have a very large number of very young people. One of the big things that QCI has done in the last few years is to encourage young people who want to serve the country to come and join QCI for 2, 3, 4 years and help make a difference before they leave. So I'd like to thank all the employees and partners of QCI for helping us get here. So a big hand for all of you. I want to spend 2 minutes on what made us successful and what is the culture that we hope for and what is it that we hope to do going forward. Although we are listening a lot to your ideas. And I'm very nervous speaking in front of Amitabh and Anurag and Anil because like the Honorable PM, almost anything you do is not big enough for them. right? So they will give us even bigger ideas, but let me at least tell you what big ideas we are thinking about. So I think our culture was, in the past, why were we able to do what we did? I think it's very important for what we're trying to do before. One is, instead of thinking about rules and accreditation boards and others, we always thought about, at the end of the day, if we don't improve quality, it won't work. So what do we have to do across all our boards, and anything we have to do, we will do to do that. And I think having a lot of young people help, because when we have people who don't have the experience, they don't know what cannot be done, right? So they just, if you say we want to do something, they will say yes, and we'll figure out a way to do it. And I think that has helped us enormously, along with our partners, to get things done. So for example, we were able to do 75 cities for Swachh Bharat for the first time in 45 days, which nobody had ever done. It would have taken 6 months, years ago, to do it, in ensuring that we're using technology to create quality. We've been involved in thinking more broadly about what quality is, as I said, quality of life of our average citizen. And we've been involved in looking at can we do things that will set the framework for our entire ecosystem. And I think a little bit more of that we will hear today from our panelists and from our speakers here. So I think at this point I will just end on just repeating my two big messages. Number one, it's been a great 25 years. Thank you all for your help in getting us to where we are. But I think, as I said, the purpose of today is not just to celebrate or to celebrate a little what we've done, but to focus on what we should do over the next 25. The dais, not in a formal way, but the role that they have played in shaping QCI. Of course, you know about Amitabh's role and what Anurag and Anil have done for us. Actually, Amitabh tricked me into taking this position, as everyone has now understood. But I just want to talk a little bit about what Piyush ji has done for QCI. Piyush ji is one of our biggest supporters. And not only has he helped us in almost anything we wanted, but he has pushed us very hard to get involved in improving quality across a very wide range of things. So for example, Piyush ji would call and say, why aren't you improving the, why can't we've done 7,000 labs, which we think is a huge number. And Piyush ji would say, but there are, hundreds of thousands of labs in India. Why aren't you doing more? Why don't you take it to every lab in India? And why isn't every government lab done? And why aren't our labs as good as any lab anywhere in the world? Because that is what we aspire to. So Piyush ji, one, pulls us in to all sorts of things to help improve the quality and to execute on programs. And second, he has been unbelievably supportive. There is almost nothing that I have gone to Piyush ji to ask for that he has not given immediately, or in fact made it even bigger. I'm not going to steal anyone's thunder by talking about some of the very big programs that we are doing, like, actually I'll talk about one only, if you don't mind, Piyush ji, just so that they know what an incredible job, what an incredible help you are. As many of you know, one of the biggest things that QCI is doing is helping measure the quality of coal when it leaves Coal India coalfields. We do the third-party certification because many customers were not willing to accept Coal India's certification saying what the quality of coal was. And Piyush ji, when he was coal minister, had said we should have third-party certification. And so he brought us in, and he and Coal India gave us the impossible task of ramping up within 30 days to put a full system in place. In his usual way, the other agency that was there had taken a year and a half, and they weren't going as fast as he wanted. So he said, QCI will get in there and you will make this happen in 30 days. I didn't know what a file was, and I think Ravi has been a very special colleague to help make this work. And one of the things that I always say in all the leadership work that we have done and who have guided us on this, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to a very exciting day. As I said, the purpose of the day is a little bit celebration, but much more important to commit ourselves to specifics.
और अब मैं श्री आदिल जैन भाई से निवेदन करती हूँ कि माननीय पीयूष गोयल जी का स्वागत करें, उन्हें शॉल और मेमेंटो भेज करके। In the Indian tradition, the guests are held in the highest esteem, and we say Atithi Devo Bhava. माननीय श्री पीयूष गोयल जी का ज्ञापन।
हमारे कार्यक्रम करते हैं, आपको याददाश्त
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय श्री पीयूष गोयल जी, आपकी शुभकामनाओं के लिए। हमारे यहाँ किसी भी कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत में दीप प्रज्वलन की परंपरा रही है। कहते हैं इससे ऊपर वाले का आशीर्वाद और अपनों की शुभकामनाएं साथ जुड़ जाती हैं, माहौल ईश्वरीय हो जाता है, रूहानी हो जाता है। हमारा विनम्र आग्रह है माननीय मंत्री महोदय श्री पीयूष गोयल जी से कि कृपया मणि दीपक रिमोट का बटन दबाकर इस एंथम को रिलीज करें।
हम नई सोच लेके आएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे। हर आने वाले पल को आज लिखेंगे कल को, जो कहा करके दिखाएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे।
सपने बुनेंगे आसमानों में, हौसले अपनी उड़ानों में। खुशबू की होगी नमी, स्वच्छ होगी जमीन, आबो हवा को बहकाएंगे।
धरती से सोना जाएंगे, हर घर उजाला लेके आएंगे। शिक्षा के होंगे नारे, स्वस्थ होंगे सारे, मुस्काने होठों पे सजाएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे। चलो रोशन कर जाए बेहतर भारत की राहें, हम क्या है दुनिया को बताएंगे। ना कच्चे वादे होंगे, पक्के इरादे होंगे, अब न कहीं भी रुक पाएंगे। नई तकनीक लेके आएंगे, उद्योगों को भी चमकाएंगे। शुद्ध हो जल के धारे, सबका जीवन संभाले, उन्नति मिलकर लाएंगे। क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे।
Quality
Let's do it one more time. Hey, hey. Oh, oh. Come on, big Josh. Hey, hey. Oh,
जी हाँ, QCI विभिन्न कोर सेक्टर्स में सकारात्मक बदलाव का परचम बुलंद कर रहा है। वक्त बदला तो QCI ने अपना रुख भी बदला। देश, समाज, सिनेरियो, इंटरनेशनल प्रैक्टिसेस तथा टेक्नोलॉजी के हिसाब से, सिटीजन सेंट्रिक अप्रोच से, अपनी आउटरीच से, विभिन्न कोलैबोरेशन से, अपने डिटर्मिनेशन से QCI ने गुणवत्ता की एक अलग सी जगह दी।
How do we bring world-class quality, world-class products and world-class services for the Indian consumer? We're doing things that actually have affected the country and have brought services to every single citizen of the country. And I think this is what we feel very proud about.
अंत तक किसी भी नागरिक का हिंदुस्तान में अगर हम किसी भी तरह से उसके जीवन यापन की शैली में थोड़ा भी परिवर्तन कर सके तो ये क्वालिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया का बहुत बड़ा योगदान होगा।
गुणवत्ता हमारी पहचान ही नहीं, हमारा प्रण भी है। 25 साल की हमारी गर्वीली यात्रा को समेटे एक कॉम्फर्टेबल बुक के साथ हम उपस्थित हैं। धन्यवाद माननीय। और अब 7th एडिशन ऑफ क्वालिटी बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस बुक को भी लॉन्च करें माननीय अपने कर कमलों द्वारा। और हम तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हैं डीएल शाह ट्रस्ट के, जिनके सहयोग से, इंस्पिरेशन से 6 एडिशंस के बाद
have some kind of connection. It continued to get its support, but the kind of team which is sitting here on the dais, when Mr. Amitabh Khan Saab was the chairman, and when Adil Bhai and SG Saab joined, that was a time when QCI decided that they would stop taking grants. That was, I think, the first big step in the journey of QCI. As long as you know that whatever you want to spend, you will go argue with the budget division and get some money for yourself, you will never be able to stand on your own legs. So I think that was one major decision which happened in 2014, that QCI decided to stand on its own legs. Another major decision they took, in spite of not taking the money, they would subject themselves to, for the purpose of transparency, to RTI. Voluntarily they took RTI as a part of their processes. Thereafter, some of the things Adil Bhai has already talked about, the coal experiment he has talked about. FCI, I guess that also would have been given by you, FCI project. That is again a very transformational project. Actually, this is going to, the general perception in the mind of people is that the food which comes through the public distribution system is of inferior quality. This is a typical thing which you read in newspapers कि गेहूं सड़ रहा है, गेहूं को चूहे खा रहे हैं. But what QCI has done, actually I discussed with my colleagues there when we are looking at the FCI project. I asked my colleagues in food department, all the SOPs have been formulated, and now the way the wheat grain is to be procured, to the time it is distributed, the way it is to be stored, everything is standardized. And as we know, if a particular thing gets standardized, the processes get standardized, the final outcome, the quality is reasonably assured. Now they are going one step forward. It is almost 1 year since our minister is takes the meeting of all the 5 departments together. So we come to know what's happening in another department. And I've been seeing that he has been pushing for the cameras in all the FCI stores. And the project is almost complete. And once that happens, it would be available for public viewing how the food grain is stored, the food grain which is coming to you, where is it coming from, that kind of visibility would be given to people. So it is empowering the citizens. At the same time, when you have this kind of empowerment of citizenry, it actually makes us perform better. So that is what is going to happen. Similarly, the experimentation in health, the gradation of the hospitals, etc., all those things are really, they have contributed to improve the quality. But one thing I will talk about today is ONDC. ONDC is going to be a game changer. When I joined as Secretary DPIIT, I think last 1 year, it has really been put firmly in place. The Government of India departments have started planning their infrastructure projects on the PM Gati Shakti platform. With infrastructure, with industrialization, the ease of doing business, ease of living, and the structural reforms, I think we have got our foundations set. We have to ensure that this good work continues, and in 25 years, we will probably be definitely the 3rd largest economy, which will happen in 2030, but by 2047, we may overtake US, otherwise definitely in 30 years we'll overtake. We'll be a developed country. But for that, what is most important? What do we do? As a mission, I think, can we take the total quality mission as part of QCI's agenda? Actually, your theme song talks about total quality. We are talking about change in health, change in education, change in environment, and all that, how do we drive? Can we take that total quality mission in the sense that quality becomes the mindset of the people? The way we know that if we talk about cars, we know German cars have a good quality. I mean, that's the general perception people have. You talk about watches or chocolate, you talk about Swiss chocolate, Swiss watches. You talk about some products coming out of Japan, you think it's a good product. Can we create that kind of brand India by 2047, that anything coming out of India, people say, yes, it has to be quality. Change of mindset of general people of India towards quality. Change of mindset for us, I would say that is more important than the government officials. If we start angling on the quality for everything, things will fall in place. And for that to happen, we need to ensure there may be individual brilliances all around. You may see a lot of very good experiments. But for that to happen at a scale, what is important is to ensure that SOPs are made properly. So that project, Adil Bhai, we talked about, people have a system of certifying offices, which I personally feel the SOP of giving that ISO certification is simply nothing but whatever your existing processes are, putting them on a piece of paper and ensuring that they are repeated. That itself is a great step. But I think we need to go further than that. We need to look at business process re-engineering so that the life of the citizens becomes better. The quality of services what the government gives becomes better. The health outcome, the education outcome of the services which government gives becomes better. For all that to happen, it has to start.
Has been a very big source of inspiration and motivation to many of us. My very distinguished colleague, Mr. Anurag Jain, with whom I've worked in many projects together. Mr. Adul Zainul Bhai, who's done such a wonderful job as Chairman of Quality Council of India and driven so many radical changes in India. And Mr. Anil Agarwal, who's been a driver of ONDC, and Ravi, who's been able to drive Quality Council of India so vigorously and energetically. All the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure. Let me at the outset compliment QCI on its silver jubilee year with full autonomy, absolutely full autonomy. Rather, more than giving it, they just took it. So that is to the credit of QCI. That is to the credit of QCI that they never came back, and I continued as Secretary DPIT for 3 years. They never came back for a single paisa. And that is to the credit of QCI that has grown and grown and grown and expanded into a top class institution. So ladies and gentlemen, Adil really said that we should not praise QCI and we should really make some suggestions. So my view is that the Honorable Prime Minister has set this big target before the country that we must become a developed nation by the time we become 100 in 2047. We are already the 5th largest economy in the world. We'll soon accelerate and become the 3rd largest economy in the world. And I think one of the great things this government has done is to ensure houses, it's ensuring Swachh Bharat, it's ensuring water, it's ensured electricity, it's ensured LED bulbs, and it has truly transformed the lives of common citizens of India. We are a $3 trillion economy, and it's important to understand that our per capita income is about roughly $2,200 because we have a large population. Now that means we are an upper middle income country. But when you talk about India becoming a developed nation, which the Prime Minister has talked about, that would really mean that we need to grow at very, very high rates by the time we become 100 in 2047. Several countries in the past have actually done this. Japan did it during 56-73, South Korea did it between 80 to 90, Singapore did it between 60-72, China did it between 95 to 2010. What did they do? They grew at high rates of 10% plus, and it's very important to understand this, that if India was to become a developed country, this means that we need to accelerate the pace of growth to very high level. If we were to grow at 6% from now to 2047, we'll be just roughly around a $16 trillion economy. If we grow at about 8%, we'll be a $20 trillion economy. But if we grow at about 10%, we'll be close to about a $32.6 trillion economy. That is the compounding power of growth. The difference between 6 to 8 to 10% is so enormous. And it is important because the per capita income, if you grow at 6%, will be 10,000. If you grow at 8%, it will be 14,000. But if you grow at 10%, your per capita income will be close to about 24,000 per individual of India. That is the transformation that you will do. And therefore, the challenge for India is, when Prime Minister talks about being a developed nation, is to grow at very high rates of 9 to 10% per annum, year after year, year after year, year after year, for till 2047 to truly transform India in one generation. And that, to my mind, is really the key. And this, I am a great believer that this cannot be done without quality. This requires focus. India can really grow at those high rates if we are a quality country and we accept the concept of quality in a very big way, and quality gives rise to a massive competitive advantage to India, and quality really becomes a driver of growth for India. And to my mind, there are just 4 or 5 things to my mind. I'm a great believer, like the Prime Minister has been saying, that government has to be a facilitator, catalyst. The private sector has to drive India. And the private sector must drive this 10% rate of growth for India. Without that, it will not happen. And that means that you will have to bring in huge competitive efficiency in the economy. And that requires, just to my mind, 5 key things. One is a huge focus on customers. That is, every sector, including government, must look at customer. Government, from its perspective, has to be its client. And therefore, customer focus has to be really the focus of this growth. That cannot happen without total involvement of employees. And very, very important is what has been talked about in every single scheme where we have achieved success, from bulb distribution to LED to everything, to aspirational districts, each one of these schemes, including coal, has been the aspect of measurement. You know, all that we've achieved, this digitization, we are 7x in digital payment, we are 7x of United States of America, we are 3x of China, we do 25% more digital payment than USA and China put together. That has been our achievement. And all this has become constant level of measurement across schemes. And therefore, measurement will have to be the key. And fourth is that quality must be recognized and rewarded. That is systematic support to quality across every single organization of India, that we reward quality and actually emphasize that everyone who focuses on quality has to be rewarded. And last point that I want to make is that continuous improvement is really the basis of quality, because the world is advancing. All these aspects of cutting edge technologies, AI, digitization, constant industry 4.0, and that would require continuous and constant improvement on a minute-to-minute, day-to-day basis with a focus on quality. So quality has to become a part of our bloodline. It has to become a part of our passion, our very existence, and therefore this aspect of quality can be the only basis on which India can achieve this high level growth of 10% rate for long periods of time, and achieve what the Prime Minister has envisioned for us, that we will be a developed country by 2047, and therefore quality alone has to be the basis for it.
Shri Amitabh Kanji, Sherpa for the G20, Shri Anurag Jainji, Secretary, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Shri Adil Zainul Bhai, the very, very dynamic chairman of Quality Council of India, and the person who has given it wings over the last 8 years. Congratulations to you, Adil Bhai, and to your entire team for this landmark historic occasion. Shri Anil Agarwal, our additional secretary in the ministry, Shri Ravi Singh, you may not be really celebrating the way we do, but for the last 35-40 years, I've been making the thali, the plate on which we make a small demonstration of what the festival of Dussehra is all about. I would have been much more comfortable in Hindi, but I see many friends from out of the country. But I'll translate briefly for you. हम एक थाली में रावण, भगवान राम, छोटा सा लक्ष्मण बना के उसकी पूजा करते हैं, और रावण को उनके 10 सर के साथ बनाना आटे से बनाते हैं, और उसमें भगवान राम के पास तीर कमान दिया जाता है, लक्ष्मण छोटा सा साइड में रहता है, छोटी सी थाली होती है जो हम अपने घरों में शायद 8-10 इंच या 12 इंच की थाली में, और ये रोल मैंने 25-30 या 35 साल से किया है घर में, कि वो थाली में रावण बनाना, भगवान श्री राम बनाना, वो तीर कमान बनाना कि वो तीर मार रहे हैं, उनके नाभि पे जाके लगना चाहिए तो तीर की डायरेक्शन ठीक हो। और शायद 30 साल मेरी शादी के हो गए, 30 साल तो पक्का मेरी पत्नी ने मेरी आलोचना की है जब मैं वो बना रहा। रावण का सिर बड़ा हो गया, राम का सिर छोटा होना चाहिए क्योंकि रावण बड़ा आक्रामक रहता था, भगवान राम सौम्य रहते थे। फिर कभी पांव ठीक नहीं आते हैं, कभी वो डायमेंशंस ठीक नहीं होते हैं, बो एंड एरो बनाना आसान नहीं है। तो हर चीज में क्वालिटी का तो एक संबंध बन ही जाता है। करवा चौथ आएगा, हमारी पत्नी सूर्योदय के पहले उठेगी, उसको पक्का कोई अलार्म नहीं लगता, नींद खुली जाती है, खाना खाना ही है उस टाइम पे, नहीं तो दिन भर भूखा प्यासा रहना है। और उस दिन 100% मैं क्वालिटी से इसलिए जोड़ रहा हूं कि भगवान भी क्वालिटी कॉन्शियस है। 100% उस दिन चांद लेट आए। और फिर फोन्स, एक दूसरे को फोन, तुमने देखा क्या, मुंबई में आ गया है क्या, कलकत्ते निकल गया है क्या चांद। और उस दिन बादल भी ज्यादा याद है। अच्छा, फिर एक स्टाफ को भेजो कि वो चौराहे पे जाके देखो, वहां से तो नहीं दिखता। मुंबई में आई एम ऑन द 17th फ्लोर, तो जरा ज्यादा नजदीकी से जल्दी दिखने की संभावना बन जाती है। मुंबई में, दिल्ली में तो ग्राउंड फ्लोर पे है, चारों तरफ ग्रीनरी है, लुटियंस दिल्ली में कम से कम। तो हर प्रकार से हर चीज का अपना अपना कोई ना कोई टाका सिस्टम या मेजरमेंट, जैसे अमिताभ कांत जी ने कहा, या एक एसओपी बोल दो, या एक प्रकार से सिस्टमैटिक अप्रोच हर चीज में देखने को भी मिलता है, अपनाने का भी मौका मिलता है, और आगे के लिए तैयार करने का भी एक मौका रहता है। मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं, मैं एक अच्छा एक अगर मास्टर बना लूं और उसको नीचे फॉरवर्ड अमिताभ's point can become more measurable and can actually help this country become a developed nation in the next 25 years. If we absorb this idea in our very being, in just about any and everything we do, it can transform this country faster than any of us in this room can imagine. And that truly is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision when he talks of the 5 commitments, 5 pran. He's really asking the nation to change our mindset, to be a self-confident, a self-reliant economy, to be bold in our ambitions, to plan for a developed nation by 2047, to remove whatever little historical baggage we are carrying, the colonial mindset, as he articulated on 15th August, as the country celebrated 75 years of independence. Look at our roots, where a lot of good learnings are available. Our heritage, our culture, our tradition teaches us a lot of things which can help us progress as a society. The spirit of unity, एकता और एकजुटता जिसकी बात प्रधानमंत्री जी ने की, our unity in diversity that we are very proud of, and our duty, कर्तव्य भावना. And I think quality is something that will transcend all the 5 प्रण, 5 प्रण जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हम सबको दिए हैं. It's something which can help us achieve all 5 smarter and better. And friends, quality never comes at a cost. Quality is always cheap. It in fact saves cost. And therefore as I was glancing through this book that the DL Shah QCI Awards is describing the various projects, on almost every project, this is a project done by a company in Hardwar, and the gains are 53 lakh rupees saved in costs, productivity increased 30%, cycle time reduced by 4.82 minutes, 6 manpower from each line, total 24 manpower reduced over 4 lines, and machine speed increases from 80 to 120 pieces per minute. I don't think the cost of the effort done to achieve this would have been anywhere comparable to the benefits, like safety of workers, the morale of employees. People started thinking out of the box in this company. which is what, when you bring the consciousness of quality, happens. And the chances of customer complaint significantly reduce. Similarly, on another project, the cost saving has led to a financial gain of $45 million. And the scalability of the opportunity to duplicate that in other companies. And I could just go on and on, but on a small aside, Mr. D.L. Shah and I share a birthday. I'm privileged that you asked me to boulders, climbing on top of the wagon because the loading is from the top, and putting these boulders inside as a replacement for the good coal. And how many people would be required to pick up a boulder as big as this? And why should they ever do that? They just need to steal the coal, if at all, and run away. They are not going to be replacing that coal with huge boulders. But that was the thinking and the justification, which must have gone on for how many years before 2004. And that is the day I called upon becoming more quality conscious in the coal sector. After serious efforts, I found that it was not getting us adequate results, and that's where, like the good Samaritan, Coal Quality Control of India walked in and helped me truly transform the quality of coal in India. I think it took us about a year and a half of relentless pursuit and pushback. Wasn't an easy job, friends. Every single way, along the way, every single possible opportunity, we were tried to be stopped. Every effort was made to stop us. It was not an easy journey. Right from even appointing them. That process to appoint them was full of complications and files and paperwork going up and down to avoid appointing them. They said we'll do it in our own labs, only our labs will do it, third party will not do it. Every single obstruction that they could do, they did. But I'm glad to report that by the time we finished the project, of course it's continuing, you still continue to do third party sampling. But by the time we achieved a zero tolerance on quality of coal being compromised, what the coal company built is what the power plants got. And if they did not, we had a third party sample under seal kept with us before the dispatch. That would go for a third party independent evaluation. And should there be a discrepancy in the billing and the independent third party evaluation, coal companies have actually paid back money to the power companies, which ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, have helped all of you in business, as residential consumers. All consumers of power in the country benefited because this irregularity was ultimately being loaded to the power cost that everybody was paying until 2014. And with the quality of coal improving, your cost of power came down, was kept under check, and of course, our power companies and the equipment that they use got longer life, less maintenance, and overall, this quality consciousness helped us in changing the mindset of the coal companies. I'm sharing this in so much detail with you, friends, because I'm convinced quality only helps save. It comes at zero cost. And any effort made to improve quality across the country in big or small units, in everyday life, will help the economy, will help the country truly become a developed country. There is no shortcut in quality. You have to go through the rigor. You have to go through the initial pain, but it can have huge results for each one of us We've seen that happen when the hospitals were taken up for quality accreditation. We've seen that happen when the Food Corporation of India decided to focus on quality, particularly since the grain being given, rice, wheat being given.
धन्यवाद। आप सभी से निवेदन है माननीय
17,500 crores. 50%. Budget दे दिया।
माननीय मंत्री जी के हृदय से आभारी।
पिछले 8 सालों में जो प्रगति इस देश ने की है उसका हम थोड़ा बहुत हम कह सकते हैं कि हमने जमीनी स्तर पर जहाँ पे भी सरकार की परियोजनाएं जमीनी स्तर पे किस तरह से कार्य कर रही हैं उसका आकलन करने के लिए हम लोग ने प्रयास किया है और हमको लगता है कि अब वो समय आ गया है जहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स, स्टेट्स और सभी निकाय अब थर्ड पार्टी असेसमेंट को हमेशा अपने सिस्टम के अंदर अंगीकृत करना चाहते हैं और यही हमारा सबसे बड़ा प्रयास है। हलाल के ऊपर हमारे पास एक स्कीम ऑलरेडी है, ये अभी तक वॉलंटरी स्कीम है, मतलब स्वेच्छा से आदमी इसको अप्लाई कर सकता है, लेकिन अब हमको दिक्कतें आनी शुरू हो गई हैं जबकि हम मीट को, हलाल मीट को यहाँ से एक्सपोर्ट करना शुरू करते हैं। अब हम लोग बैठ करके DPIT के साथ बैठ करके इसके ऊपर एक संविदा बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और आप बहुत ही जल्द देखिएगा इसके ऊपर काफ़ी कार्य होगा।